AMD just wrapped their CES 2026 keynote moments ago, and while they seem to care most about what they're doing in AI, what we care about is what they just launched, starting with the new fastest CPU in the world for gaming, the 9850X3D, which, if the leaks are anything to be believed, should come in at just a few dollars more than the old one, which is awesome. Then we've got what I think is gonna be the new best portable gaming chip. It's a trimmed down version of their beefy Strix Halo flagship that should be a lot cheaper while still gaming like the flagship, which is huge. Not unlike AMD releasing a keyboard with HP. It sounds lame, right? Except that it's gonna have upwards of maybe even 12 cores, a bunch of LPDDR5, and a honkin' GPU, all in a keyboard. It's a computer in a keyboard. And of course, a refreshed lineup of their other laptop processors. Let's dive in. Whether you love AI or you hate it, too bad, because AMD spent most of the presentation talking about it, so I will at least indulge them for a moment. They did show off some pretty serious performance improvements with the new versions of ROCm 7. If you're not familiar, that's their AI compute stack. It's kind of like a GPU driver, but for AI. And they teased the release of ROCm 7.2 coming this month, which is supposed to make everything even more faster, so you can make the speediest of slop in your house, powered by AMD. What we aren't getting in our homes anytime soon, though, is AMD's rumored Zen 6 architecture. Nope, seems like that's gonna be a 2027 pipe dream at this point. We did get our first official look at the new best CPU for gaming. Dethroning the 9800X3D is the new Ryzen 7 9850X3D. It slices, it dices, it adds 400 megahertz to the max turbo clock speed and seemingly literally nothing else. Yay, innovation, woo! We don't have official pricing or a launch date yet, but this does get a bit sweeter because the leaks seem to indicate, like I mentioned in the intro, that the 9850X3D will be around $500, almost the same as the launch price as the 9800X3D, so at least they're not gouging us for this nothing burger. The red team is claiming a 6 to 7% average performance increase over the 9800X3D, but it seems a little too good to be true, even if we're talking about a max boost of 5.6 gigahertz. Regardless, they did show a bunch of benchmarks where it absolutely demolishes Intel's flagship 285K, so that was fun at least. I mean, really, Intel? You can't run Baldur's Gate 3 just a little bit better? It doesn't really matter though, because you can still get the same Baldur's Gate style third-person experience, but in real life with our sponsor Anti-Gravity and their new A1 drone. And honestly, that third-person view is literal here. The Anti-Gravity A1 is the world's first mass-market 8K 360-degree drone. And once you put on their micro OLED-powered vision goggles, it's a totally immersive flight experience. So you turn your head and the camera follows. So you can actually walk around IRL, but with a third-person view if you really wanted. It genuinely feels like you're flying around in a video game, but with no clip, especially since their included controller makes flying the A1 insanely intuitive. You just point where you want to go, pull the trigger, and it goes. And since the drone itself is only 249 grams, you can fly it in most jurisdictions without a license or registration. And with up to 39 minutes of flight time on the high-cap batteries, you got lots of time to have a fantastic experience, or to get the perfect shot, or both, because it's 360, so you don't have to frame it right the first time. It's truly, genuinely awesome. So check out the Anti-Gravity A1 at jakku.com/antigravity or at the link down in the description. And hey, if you're disappointed because you can't find a 9850X3D when they inevitably sell out on release day, don't fret, because everyone with a modern AMD GPU is getting a free boost to FPS, and I guess image quality if you're using it, thanks to FSR Redstone, with the new features like radiance caching, which aims to enable ray trace lighting with less of a performance hit by using the AI cores on the GPU to estimate the rays rather than tracing every single one. That's a mouthful. There's also ray regeneration, an improved denoising setup that helps make the image look better, and of course FSR frame gen. They did at least say that 200 plus games are going to support FSR Redstone, but if you read the fine print, it also says at least one feature in FSR Redstone. And if you go and look for specific features, well, the list gets a lot shorter. Frame gen, for instance, is only supported in less than 50 games, according to AMD's website. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's still cool, but just keep that in mind. Come on, AMD, you get that game support in there. Just like I'm gonna be keeping these new Strix Halo chips in mind. Ever since AMD launched Strix Halo, a CPU that's portable and has dedicated tier graphics strapped onto it, not your freaking integrated GPU BS, no. Strix Halo has 40 frickin' RDNA 3.5 cores here, all right, bud? Ever since those launched, we've been asking for a more gaming-focused version, and it's not to say that you can't game on the existing chips. The flagship Ryzen AI Max Plus 395 is a monster, both in name and gaming performance, but it's also really expensive. It's got 16 CPU cores. Fortunately for us, the new AI Max Plus 392 and 388 that AMD announced today come with 12 and 8 cores respectively, while still having that same full-fat 40-core GPU from the top-tier 395, which means their gaming performance should be pretty much on par, but with a much more reasonable price tag. Hallelujah! These new chips are gonna be an absolute godsend for mid-range gaming laptops and maybe even some like beefy handhelds. I'm just excited, okay? And I'm sure if you're into it, that they'll be good for AI too, especially with ROCm 7, where compared to version 6, AMD is claiming a 5 times performance improvement in AI video applications like Comfy UI, 2.5 times faster in Stable Diffusion XL, 5 times faster in Flux S, and 5.4 times faster in WAN 14B. The people out there already rocking AMD hardware for image and video generation or processing, they're celebrating big, while everyone else is just terrified of what they're gonna do with it. That's just 7.1.1. 7.2 drops later this month for both Windows and Mac, with support for AMD's new AI 400 series of laptop chips, which they also announced today. It's just that it's not entirely clear what's actually new here. If you take the entire Ryzen AI 400 stack and compare it to the Ryzen AI 300 stack, you get a list of CPUs that look like the exact same thing, just with like a couple hundred megahertz sprinkled over here. And on the low end, there's even spots where the new lineup looks worse, like the new 6-core Ryzen AI 7 445. It swaps one of its beefier Zen 5 cores for another Zen 5C core and loses cache and clock speed because of it, despite having a higher model number. It's not to say that these new chips are gonna be bad. It's just kind of depressing that AMD seems to be taking a page out of Nvidia's playbook and reselling us last-gen hardware with a fancy new sticker. I can't tell if they're genuinely not worried about Intel's new Panther Lake lineup, which it's running on a brand new process node with upgraded GPU cores, and they even made a point to have their keynote directly before AMD's. So get subscribed, because we're actually gonna get to run some benchmarks on those later today. So the video is coming soon. Or maybe it's just that AMD doesn't care. If you look at their revenue right now, it's just kind of like this. And that increase, it's not coming from gaming CPUs or laptops. It's all AI in the data center. But hey, Intel getting back into the ring, it's a good thing for all of us. And if Intel's claims are anything to be believed, with 50% higher CPU and GPU performance on Panther Lake, well, the average 12% faster gaming compared to Intel that AMD is claiming for their new mobile chips, it should have them a bit worried, as long as Intel keeps their power consumption down, which their slides also said was down. So who knows, man? There's not really pricing info on any of this stuff yet, so it's really hard to say where AMD or Intel is gonna land in the consumer space when all these laptops start flooding the market in the next few months. Wait for reviews to verify all this stuff before you run out and buy all the new hotness. And if you can't wait, we'll have links in the description where you can check out some AMD, maybe even some Panther Lake powered devices in the meantime. And speaking of the meantime, forget what I said before. AMD, you can sell me last year's hardware with a new sticker on it, as long as it's in a cool ass form factor, like HP's new EliteBoard G1A. I haven't seen it yet in person, but I hope I find it at CES. It's the world's first AI PC built into a keyboard, delivering desktop grade performance. Yep, they stuck a Ryzen AI 400 chip into a keyboard. It's just got like a little USB-C cable coming off the side. I never thought I'd be rooting for HP, but here we are. And hey, on the commercial side, they might be cheering too, because manufacturers are getting something new here as well. AMD announced their P100 and X100 chips, which are soldered Ryzen embedded processors, usually made to power stuff like your car's dashboard, robotics, or digitized factories, but they also tend to end up in some pretty interesting all-in-one motherboard designs. Companies like ASRock release those, and sometimes in mid-range NAS units. So it'll be pretty cool to start seeing Zen 5 in those at a little bit of a better price. The 6-core and below P100 chips launched today, with the bigger 12-core versions coming out in the first half of 2026. And they showed off some pretty impressive spec sheets with big bar graphs about how much better the new generation is than the last one, except the one they were comparing to was actually the second last one, the two before. The point is big better. And they're even dropping 16-core X100 chips, but they didn't really talk about it too much because they're coming in the second half of 2026. Like always, wait for the reviews. You don't want to pre-order this stuff. And let me know down in the comments what you think about AMD's new offerings. Are you more excited for Panther Lake? Let me know. And don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button so you can stay tuned for more CES coverage. The thing about announcement videos is everyone's got one and they're always comparing to last year. And while Intel has not been doing so great these last few years, maybe they finally changed CEOs enough times to make a comeback. I'm rooting for them. I also just want the new Strix Halo. That thing is sick. Imagine a Steam Deck with like a 50-watt 40 CPU Strix Halo. Or like if that was what was gonna be in the Steam machine. Whew. If only. If only, then it would be expensive and then not cool. All right, whatever, fine, bye!